Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another V-Rising video. Now I've finally had a chance to run my Discord friends through the current 1.1 update, and with that, I have an updated best chaos build that's actually different from my 1.0 build. We've got a new passive system, new buffs, new consumables, and a reforged system that makes the perfect weapons and jewels. This build is right for you if you prefer casting spells over melee, and just like setting things on fire in general. Now, let's get into the build. Alright, starting off this list, let's talk about which spells and gems you'll want to run here. The first one is pretty obvious. You'll want the Veil of Chaos as your dash ability. It's a chaos build after all, and we've only got one real choice here. For the gems, I believe the best four are Increased Elude Duration, that's the amount of time before enemies retarget you, Inflict a Fading Snare on your clone to keep enemies off you longer, spawning a second illusion that will deal 80% damage, and increase the overall damage of explosions by 24%. They will go after your illusions, so maximizing the damage and crowd control is really nice here. Now there's 6 spells we can choose from, and even after the major update, the spells didn't really change that much. Void got like 5% overall damage nerf, some spells had their cooldown slightly adjusted. So my 2 spells are going to stay the same, but the gems are different. The first spell is Chaos Volley. It shoots out 2 ranged missiles that will burn your target. And again, don't forget you can reforge your gems to make them perfect. Like here, I've got 3 of my 4 slots here at level 5. This was such a good update. Now, 20% more damage is great, reducing the cooldown by 12%. Knocking back targets is good to give yourself some breathing room. This chaos build is more focused on ranged attacks rather than getting in with melee. And lastly, increased projectile range and speed, so it's harder to miss. Now Void is your go-to AoE spell. The Shockwave spell also fills a similar role, but I like Void more. Damage increase again, after all, these are what kills your enemies. And for the next 3, I'm going to maximize the AoE part of the spell. Flames engulf the area, so if they stay in it, they burn. And if they're already burning, which most of the time they are, they get Agonizing Flames, which deals more damage and heals you. And you can actually get this Agonizing Flames thing on every one of your abilities, but you kind of just want to throw it on one. If you throw it on all 3 and they've already got Agonizing Flames, you're just kind of wasting points here. And the last one will spawn 3 Exploding Fragments for even more crowd control. And then for the ultimate, use Chaos Barrage. No gems for that one, is just used as is. Now for the passives, we used to be able to just equip them all at once. But now we have a pick 5 system, assuming you have all your slots unlocked. Now I always like to have the first 2 Elemental Awakenings in your school's damage type at all times. That gives us 8% more spell damage and 25% healing for survivability purposes. Chaos Kindling gives you 7% faster cooldowns on spells, as well as a 25% increased damage on ignited enemies. Now for the Vampire Awakenings, there's an argument for almost all of them. But my top 3 include Turbulent Velocity, which gives us a 4% increased move speed and another 4% on top of that when we hit an enemy for the next 4 seconds. Move speed is not only a nice quality of life perk, it also helps you a lot in combat. A lot of the enemy attacks are projectiles or red AoE moves that you need to move away from. And faster move speed means you don't have to rely on your Veil to get you out of danger. Number 2 here is Wicked Power. And since we're a Spellslinger build, 8% spell crit chance plus a 50% chance to inflict a random school's effect on cast. Getting a free chill or condemn is certainly nice and fits in with what we're trying to do already. And lastly, I actually like Embrace Mayhem. A faster ultimate cooldown and increased ultimate damage. With the faster ult in longer fights, you can usually get a second cast in to finish off your V-Blood you're fighting. And that's just huge. I know there's passives that give you like 8% more damage to V-Bloods, and I was running that one for a while too. But it doesn't do anything outside of boss fights. Grinding Runes of Mortem doesn't do anything. Out farming and just fighting random mobs doesn't do anything. Now, let's talk about consumables, because once you get to the last dozen V-Bloods or so, you're gonna kinda want to maximize what you've got going on. And the first thing we've got is weapon coatings. Much like Elden Ring's weapon grease system. These add a weapon effect on hit with a short cooldown before it can trigger again. Now since we can inflict Ignite like 5 different ways already, I went a different direction with the coating. I actually recommend the Frost coating, but you could use Static as a second choice if you don't really want to use Frost. Now Frost coating gives you a free Frost Nova dealing 30% magic damage every 12 seconds. That's free damage, and the ability to chill your targets for free, slowing them down. Also in this update, we've got 8 new elixirs that are much more interesting than the 2 potions we had previously. Now we have 2 good options for this build. Elixir of the Bat grants us 5% spell life leech and 7% faster cooldowns for 1 hour, and it lasts through death. Life leech is good at keeping you alive in tough fights, and faster spell cooldown is always helpful, right? But if you want more damage and less survivability, the Elixir of the Twisted is right for you. 8% more spell crit chance, and crit damage for the same amount of time. Honestly though, you can't go wrong with either of these two. But if you're trying to maximize your damage, you also need to pick the right blood type. Now in my previous video I recommended Scholar's Blood as the top pick, but oh ho ho, we've actually got a new contender. Draculan Blood is now my go-to for spell slingers such as this class. Increased spell and crit power, spell crit chance and movement speed, spell life leech and charge gain, spell crits increase our cooldown rate by 40% for 3 seconds. This is the way. And there's a new refinement tool that lets us combine higher level blood types. So if you do have a 90% or better Draculan and Scholar, mix them together for the ultimate spellslinger concoction. But honestly, this is a bit much even for me. 100% Draculan Blood is probably just going to get you just fine in every fight. But if you do want to reach your maximum potential or just get a little bit of an edge, go that way. Also, real quick rant time. Did they buff how often Irradiated Gruul fails? I've literally high rolled a 90% to 100% before in the 1.0 version. But now it feels like 90% of the time my 98%er is dying after one Gruul. Seriously, let me know in the comments if this sounds like you or if I'm just super unlucky. Anyways, let's talk about weaponry and amulets. The best amulet for this build is still the Wicked Prophet. More spell power, spell life leech, and lesser power surge gives us weapon ignites, and faster move and weapon attack speed. Why fix what isn't broken? Now for the weapons, we have two legendary choices that inflict ignite. The first one, and my personal favorite, is the Apocalypse. It deals 25% bonus damage to ignited enemies and can spawn a lesser shockwave dealing 80% damage in a straightforward line. Now you can get these by gambling your Greater Stygian Shards in the Ruins event. But even before you get the legendary version, the purple version is actually a great holdover. And these weapons get 3 random attributes just like the gems do. And you can reforge the legendary one over and over until you get the god tier weapon that you want. I personally recommend picking up attack speed since greatswords are so slow, and the level 5 version makes this weapon feel so much better. After that, movement speed or veil cooldown is nice. I can see an argument for either one, so pick which one you prefer. And lastly, bonus spell power is going to be the damage stat we want. Spell leech and cooldowns are nice, but bigger numbers are always going to triumph here. And if you don't like greatswords, the second choice we have are the Endbringer pistols. This version lets you move at 40% move speed while using the Fan the Hammer ability, and hits inflict ignite. And the explosive bullet lets you recast it on hit, dealing 75% damage and inflicting an ignite as well. Really, this comes down to preference. I prefer the greatsword, but one of the guys I'm playing with is pistols all day. I also think he dislikes saying it's high noon before every fight. And there we have it, everything you could possibly need to create the perfect Chaos Spellslinger. Let me know if you want me to continue this series like last time and update my old guides, or perhaps we can find the best possible lightning or illusion builds for PvE. I haven't covered those before. Now before I leave you, I wanted to showcase this build against Dantos, the new boss that seems to be giving everyone issues. This is like my 4th attempt, and even though I played kinda sloppy, this build just carried me through this fight easily. Sub if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
My weapons are adapted. Test your weapons. Let me see your weapon. My weapons are perfect. This is giving me idea. You are not fit for the forge. Test your weapons against mine. Let me see your weapon. To die in battle. Very well.
I feel stronger.